Welcome, everyone, to yet another masterclass of the Data World Innovators community. I'm Christoph. I will be your host today. We're looking forward to that session. I have two great guests here. On my right side, I have Endika. Endika is a principal solutions architect at Wherescape. He works here over 5 years and is based in Amsterdam. Welcome, Endika.
Hello, good morning.
Morning. And on my other side, I have Trung. He also worked for Scalefree, like me. He's a senior consultant. He works there for over 7 years now. Also based in Hanover, just like me. And he worked on multiple data warehouse implementation projects with Wherescape, I think, over the last 5 years. It's really great to have you here, Chung.
Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone.
Alrighty. I would say let's just jump in. We have some questions here, so let's get into it. Indika, I have one question for you, a bit specific for your past. So I stalked you on LinkedIn, right? And I saw you worked for Informatica before you joined Wherescape. So what I asked myself is, what was your first impression when you switched from Informatica to Wherescape the first time seeing the tool?
Yeah, so before Wherescape, I used to work at Informatica and before as an engineer as well. Um, I thought it would be like other ETL products, but actually Wherescape is a little bit different on its approach, and it's a data warehouse tool. So it does, let's say, more things than you would actually expect, not only the ETL, but also the ingestion and the different modeling styles on up to the reporting layer on the platforms that we support.
All right. All right. Thank you. Similar question for Chung. Chung, if I don't know if you still remember the first time you worked with Westcape like 5 years ago. Like, what was your first impression?
Yeah, definitely. So prior to my time with Wherescape, I had the opportunity to work in a data vault implementation project where we practically had to write every single line of code. Um,
Yeah,
we had to do it ourselves and had to come up with like a
yeah,
system of templates that is ready for copy and pasting to speed up the
mm,
development. But then entered Westgate. With that, most of the repetitive work is eliminated thanks to the code templates and the system of workflows. It helped a lot accelerating the development. And honestly, I felt great to have a tooling ecosystem and platform that does all of the job that is required in a data warehousing project and does it well from like designing to ETL, code generation to job orchestrations.
mhm.
So I immediately fell in love with Westgate after the first sessions. I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I remember back then it was for us was a big game changer when it hit. And yeah, we onboarded a lot of people. I think you I think were the first one. So yeah,
Yeah.
perfect that you're here today. All right, Indika, maybe let's jump back to you. Um, so how long have you and Wherescape been involved with Data Vault? And it's a while ago, I assume. So the follow-up question would be how it involved since the beginning.
Yeah, so I've been in Wherescape for around 5 years now.
Mm,
Um, of course, Wherescape was already working with um, Data Vault. Wherescape has been around for, I think, a little bit more than 20 years, I think around 25.
mm,
And when Data Vault actually started to kind of get a little bit of traction, Wherescape was one of the first companies to actually work on it. Um, we had support, I think, for 1.0, and when 2.0 came out, we actually worked with Dan to make this
mhm,
2.0 compliant. And yeah, since then, I think it has only gained more and more. So more and more of our customers actually ask for this. Um, yeah, and I think now around 80% of all our customers actually work with Data Vault. So it's been yeah, like a long way already.
mm,
There have been some changes on the standard, but we still do not have, let's say, a 2.1 or a 2.2 officially. but we are all waiting for it and looking forward for the next changes. And of course, we will implement those changes with our templates and on our products.
All right, thank you. Yes, it's been a while with Wherescape. I didn't know it was 25 years. I should have checked that before. That's a long time. Um, but definitely the first one for Data Vault, right? And yeah, now we talk about Data Vault. I mean, we here in the Data Vault Innovators community, so obviously that's the subject people are most involved with. So Jung, maybe a more Data Vault specific question here in combination with the topic of the day, Wherescape. Why use Wherescape with Data Vault, and where does it help in the data vault methodology and everything on the data vault, like where it helps the most?
Right. I
Mm,
think Wescape excels at leveraging the many patterns of data vault. So you don't really have to worry about how should a hub look like, or how should a link or satellite look like.
mm,
You would just go into the graphical UI for the modeling from the modeling component, and you just start, you know, telling Wescape, okay, this is my business key, and these are my descriptive attributes, and out of that, the data vault model will be generated for you. So it significantly speeds up the implementation process by generating, the model, the code to populate that model, to manage the data vault structures and reduce, manual effort and human error, right? It also
mm,
allows easy replication of data vault structures across different environments like development, testing, production. So it ensures consistency and reliability across the board. And also something I think Wescape is really good as well, is as data volumes grow, Wescape helps scale the data vault solutions implementation efficiently. So handling larger data sets and more complex architecture is doable without significant manual intervention. So I think that those are the best
mm,
strengths of
mm.
Wescape, definitely.
I mean, it sounds like a lot. So thank you very much. What for me, I'm more on a manager's perspective. Just jump in on that one point because that's what I really like about automation tools in general, that it's standardized the way you work, right? Especially nowadays with just a lot um, of big data management and a lot of processes, it becomes more and more important to have that. Like when you said you worked manually on building every script and then building templates and copy pasting it, um, that's definitely a tough one. Endika, I have one specific question for Wherescape. Because when you go Wherescape, you will find Wherescape Red, you will find Data Vault Express, and you will find Wherescape 3D. And some people can get a little bit of confused, like what's what do I actually need to build a data vault? Could you differentiate between those and tell us like what you would need to build a data vault project?
Yeah, sure. So we have different products. Those are the products that you can actually see on the website. Okay. The first one is Wherescape Red. We call Red our builder tool. Okay. There is where you will actually generate all the code that you need. Think about things like DDLs, DMLs. Okay. More of the everyday, day to day, let's say. So if you need to create a table to load, schedule, document, those are the things that you do with Wherescape Red. Okay. Then we have Wherescape 3D, which is our modeling tool. Okay. Wherescape 3D can actually connect to your sources, gather all the metadata, and then based on that metadata and based on rules, in this case, they are the data vault rules, but you can always make your own rules as well. You can generate models. Okay. Then those models are the input for Wherescape Red. Okay. So in that sense, 3D is the modeling and Red is the builder tool. Okay.
Mhm.
When we talk about data vault, Express, it's a combination, let's say, of both products working together. Okay. And that is the complete process of discovering and modeling your sources in 3D and then deploying them into Red. When you deploy them into Red is when you will actually generate the specific code for your platform, any of the platforms we actually support. and that code will be Data Vault 2.0 standardized and compatible, let's say.
All right, thank you for clearing that one up. All right, so you will definitely need both. They both work together, one modeling, one implementation. All right, thank you very much. Now our question's more open, but maybe let's start with Trung and then go to Endika, of course, as well. So you both worked with Wherescape, obviously, in projects. So what would be the first thing you would do when you introduce Wherescape into a new project? Do you have a guide? Do you have like standard customizations you would do and you would recommend? Yeah, really curious about your answers there. So Chung, let's start with you.
Yeah, certainly. We do have a guide. It's almost like a loose guideline of how we would like to start a Wherescape or a data vault implementation project with Wherescape. The first thing that we want to make sure is that infrastructure provisioning. Make sure that all the databases and schemata needed for the development, test, and production environments are properly configured, that Wherescape softwares and repositories are properly installed and have access to the set databases. And also, it's very important to verify that the job scheduler services are in place for Wherescape Red to smoothly set up, job orchestration once the implementation starts with Wherescape. Um, and then as to, the standard and convention configuration within Wherescape, we Wherescape experts at Scalefree would often do workshops with the client to configure their data vault standards and conventions in Wherescape 3D and Red, if any has been defined, right? But if not, we would bring a library of code templates and rule sets, which contains, years and years of our experience in implementing Data Vault with Wherescape to further enhance the out-of-the-box package that Wherescape offers. And another important workshop that we would typically do at the beginning of a project is to align on the workflow to implement data vault with Wherescape. So how to model the raw vault, how to do business vault, and information marks of which kind of modeling techniques. Is it like 3NF, like flat and white table? Is it star schema to cater to front end or the end users? So it's important to align on that right at the beginning of the project, so everyone knows of the workflows and follow that to ensure the consistency of the products. So with all that in place, we'll then proceed to an end-to-end design for an use case to prove that everything that we just talked about, the installed infrastructure, the workflows, configurations in place, are functional and ready for production to show, and produce value for the business. Because that's, at the end of the day, the name of the game.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chung.
Yeah.
Endika, something you'd like to add or your way to
Yeah,
go?
I think he actually covered most of it. Yeah, of course, all the infrastructure stuff is something that you need to work on beforehand, and it's something goes slower than we're used to sometimes. I would add that it also depends if the customer already has some experience with Data Vault. If they don't, they should do some sort of training before. Okay, maybe get certified, maybe not, but they have to do some sort of generic training to know how to actually model it. And then after that, we can actually show them how to model that with Wherescape. So those two parts, and then of course have some sort of plan and have some sort of an expectation of when every deliverable will be delivered by the project itself.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, let's talk more about details, right? So we go a little deeper with every question. So now when we talk about the overall data vault architecture, right? Or like the standard architecture you would find, for example, on our website or on other websites as well, usually have different layers, right? So for example, you have obviously the source systems, then you have most often a persistent staging area in form of a data lake. Then you have put a raw vault, you build a raw vault out of that one, then you add a business vault, and then you push it to information marts, and then put a dashboard on it, for example, with Power BI or another tool, a BI tool. So um, in that architecture, where does Wherescape help you the most, right? Or where does it come in? Endika, that's maybe a perfect start for
Yeah.
you to answer. Yeah.
So when you work with the products, you will basically go from your sources, okay, to your reporting layer, meaning your star schema or whatever your last layer is actually before your BI tools.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in this case, you would use 3D to discover your sources and to model everything that's in between. In this case, it's a data vault. Okay, then you would use that model as an input for red. Okay, and then you would probably build some of that reporting layer inside red afterwards. Okay, so basically, Wherescape will actually take you from your sources to your reporting layer and anything that's in between. There may be a pre-stage, there may be a business vault, there may be a layer of views on top. Lastly, all that will be actually covered by Wherescape. Okay, and it will be covered regardless of your platform. So it doesn't matter if you're on SQL Server, on-prem, cloud,
Mm-hmm.
Snowflake, it doesn't really matter. We will cover all that journey
Mm-hmm.
from A to B.
All right. Thank you. Trung, same question, a bit different. It's like, because we talked about your first projects with Wherescape, now looking at all those layers, like was the impact of bringing Wherescape in the biggest? Where you saw the biggest change? Mm.
Right. I think so. To start with that, I think it's I just say that most of our clients are utilizing Wherescape to build the data warehouse core. So they see the most benefits out of Wherescape in building the data warehouse core that contains, the data vault, the raw business vault, and information marts, or even data marts, right? So Wherescape certainly helps, as I mentioned before, with building the data vault part, the first few layers, because of the patterns of data vault. And so going out of the data vault, our clients see the most benefits with Wherescape in the flexibility, um, in how you can build the information mart and data marts with different techniques, with different, let's say, format or structure of the target, data products.
Mm-hmm.
So it can be done in traditional star schema. It could be done in flat and white table, however you want to deploy them to which platform. Wherescape covers the platforms quite well. So yeah, that's definitely some of the strengths of Wherescape when doing data vault and going out of the data vault then.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Mhm.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's maybe jump to our probably last question for today. So Data Vault is here since the 90s, essentially, right? Obviously, it started later to come into the market. However, it's been here for a long time. And a lot of changed since then, right? So it's nearly 30 years ago. So um, the question would be like, would you say data vault is still relevant on modern big data platforms, or do you maybe think there is a change to come in that regard? Indika, let's start with you. Mm,
Yeah, so I think that the advantages that we had with Data Vault before, things like the ease of integration, having no downtime, adding new sources, handling all those changing fast without having, let's say, to stop your reporting tools. I think those ideas are still valid. Some things have changed. Um, but if you look, let's say, at Data Lake or at Databricks or now Microsoft Fabric, they still make use of the advantages of data vault, and some of them are even more evident. Things like insert only, for example. So I think they are still valid. And I think you also need to have more standardized code and more repeatable code. And the reason is that some things have become easier. Maybe ingestion, for example, have become easier. Maybe the platform is actually faster, but the overall complexity has increased. So it's important to have a clear modeling way, and to have some sort of tool that will help you always have the same code and have something that is repeatable every time.
Right. Thank you very much. Trung, same question.
Yes, I think data vault will stay relevant for a very, very long time in the modern day and age of big data. So I actually just looked it up. The term big data was coined in the early 90s
Yeah.
when data vault was born. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure, in the history of data vault how it was invented, but I'm sure that it was invented to cater to the needs to handle big data. So huge data volume, scalability, different data formats, and so on, velocity, right? Um, so as you know, enterprise data grows, data vault can cater to to their needs because it was invented with the scalability, flexibility in mind, while maintaining reliability and auditability. So it's I think it's gonna be here to stay for a very long time. If anything, data vault is adapted then to cater to the other, let's say, buzzwords or the other trends in the industry. For example, data lakehouse or data mesh. We've been seeing um, some of our clients trying to combine, data mesh with data vault. Data lakehouse with data vault could be a thing. We haven't seen that though in the wild, but I'm sure that that's some clients or some prospect have been looking at it. But yeah, if anything, it's just adaptable, the data vault concept, to cater then to future needs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm sure data will adapt a bit from time to time. I mean, we have data vault 2.0 now, right? We have hash keys, right? Things change a bit, but I think the concepts will definitely stay relevant. Um, but that's it, guys. Thank you very much for joining for our masterclass today. It was really fun having you here. Great answers. And I'm looking forward to maybe have you on another episode in the future. And for now, I wish you a great rest of the day. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for having us.